Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Midday Live on TV3 with me, Martin Asiedu-Dartey. Coming up within the next 1 hour. Investigative report by environmental watchers indicate illegal miners are operating within the Dentraboase community in the central region despite the ban. Meanwhile, the suspected killers of Major Mahama have appeared in court today. The arrested Nigerian kidnapper bearing a Ghanaian passport would be tried in Nigeria in the next few days. And government begins donation of confiscated assets of Naile Ametefe to selected orphanages. We have details of all these stories and more, including business, sports, entertainment, all lined up for you. Stay with us. Thank you very much for staying with us. My name is Martin Asiedu-Dartey, and we start from issues relating to the murder of Major Maxwell Mahama. And information we have is that the suspects have been to court today, and our man who has been monitoring this particular story, Komla Kluche, would be joining us shortly to let us know what the story has been in court. Meanwhile, he earlier brought us some information and some footages of the arrival of these suspects in court, and we want to give you fair information about that. Then we'll go to him later on for an update. So let's watch what really transpired in court earlier today when the suspected killers of Major Mahama appeared in court.
These are their pictures. You can see they are 58 in number. We understand those who were discharged by the court in Cape Coast have also been added to them. These are the people who will be appearing before the court this morning. So including the women, packed with loads of people, but you can see them from there. They will be going through the process. What is currently happening is that they are mentioning their names one by one with the numbers that have been allotted to them so that they can they would appear before the judge. Emotional, some of them are from the pictures because they're very emotional, and these are the pictures that you are seeing now live from these 58 suspects are appearing before the magistrate court here in Accra and would be testifying. The case itself has not started yet, but there's a likelihood that the charge sheet will be amended, most especially when the 7 from Cape Coast who were discharged by the court have been added to the number, making 58. These people would be standing trial for the murder of Major Captain Mahama, who died in that gruesome murder some 3 weeks ago, but have since been buried. From the magistrate court here in Accra, Komla Kluche, TV3 News.
All right, so we are staying on that particular story because police prosecutors are ready to prosecute 32 out of the 58 suspects who were earlier today brought before the court in the murder of Major Mahama. Meanwhile, the remaining 26 have been discharged pending further investigations. We'll go over to Komla Kluche, who brought us earlier feed from the court. He's joining us now to let us know what has gone into this decision by the court to allow some of the suspects to go for further investigations, whereas others are beginning their trial today. So, Komla, Do take it away. What's happening?
Prosecution appeared this afternoon at the magistrate court together with the 58 suspects that were brought. You could see that the vehicle is just about moving, but this is what transpired in court today. Prosecution appearing before the trial judge Ebenezer Kweku Ansah came ostensibly to consolidate the charge sheet, which is conspiracy to murder and murder. This, they have indicated, is as a result of the fact that 7 others were added to the group, the 32 of them who originally had appeared before the court, and they successfully were granted that they had consolidated a charge to bring together all of them upon the same charge. What they succeeded in doing is that they had told the judge that because they needed to make the case come from one angle, from the same court, they needed to consolidate the charge. Now, the trial
Unfortunately, we seem to have lost sound from our man Komla Kluche, but he was just giving us an update of developments in court with regard to the murder of Captain Major Maxwell Mahama, and the information is that 32 of them are going to start their trial today, whereas some 26 others have been discharged pending further investigation. So in all, there are 58 in number. So when we get further development, we'll bring it to you in our subsequent bulletin. Certainly, Komla Kluche is on that beat. Let's shift our attention to some other stories now. The Narcotics Control Board has given out movable assets confiscated from jailed drug baron. Most of the items presented to 3 rehabilitation centers belong to Naile Ametefe from her Night Angels shop at Jawuli in Accra. Now, according to the Narcotics Control Board, the building was rented and so cannot be confiscated by the state, but other landed properties like her house at East Legon and those in her hometown are still under litigation. Naile Ametefe, you would recall, was arrested at Heathrow Airport in 2014 with some 12 kilograms of cocaine and is currently serving an 8-year jail term in the United Kingdom. And so the Narcotics Control Board has started giving out her properties to, what we know for now is that they're giving out some of those properties to some shops and some individuals. The confiscated items are being given out, and NACOB is saying that it is not all that they can give out as of now, but the movable ones are being given out to some persons. And our reporter who is following this particular story, that is Catherine Frimpoma, will be joining us shortly and give us an update of which other houses have received some of these items. We know that they are being given out to the orphanages, selected orphanages. We know 3 orphanages are receiving the items of the lady who was arrested with 12 kilograms of cocaine in the UK. But we would want to find out which orphanages have started receiving, and probably if we have information from NACOB, we would also be able to know which other assets they've been able to confiscate and who are going to be the beneficiaries of them. Those items you saw on your screen have been taken from a particular building, but what we know for now is that that particular building, according to NACOB, was rented and did not belong to Naile Ametefe, so the building cannot be confiscated. But then every movable item in there has been taken out and is being given out to some orphanages. So we'll get to our reporter, Catherine Frimpoma, shortly. And when we do get her on the line, we'll put a few questions to her. We'll ask her where they have visited, because we are told Osu Children's Home is one of the beneficiary institutions. Where else has she visited with the team, and what items have been picked and given out? Stay with us. We'll update you on that shortly. To one of the big stories we are looking at for you this afternoon, West Africa's most wanted kidnapper, the famous Chukudubem, aka Evans, has been identified as holding a Ghanaian passport. The Inspector General of the Nigerian Police Service, Ibrahim Potun Idris, says Ghana and Nigeria must share intelligence on this particular billionaire kidnapper and several other persons who may be purporting to be undertaking any criminal activities. Here's a report by Komla Kluche.
Kidnap. The highest money we collected is from First Act, $1 million. From somebody even in First Act.
For 7 years, he has been on Nigerian police and Interpol wanted list for operating high-level kidnapping. His arrest but a week in Nigeria has sparked reactions from people who he duped following his activities.
And that's a kidnapper that operates along the coastline of West Africa. His family are based in Ghana here. And that's the only kidnapper that kidnapped and, he demands ransom in dollars.
Described as a cross-border criminal by the Nigerian Inspector General of Police, together with his accomplices, they are being processed for court. The Nigerian police have paraded him through some major cities where he had properties the police believed were as a result of the kidnapping. Shocking, the Nigerians believe the famous West Africa's most wanted had traces here in Ghana with an operation of a high-level cartel.
And he doesn't release his victim until that money is completed. The money he gives out is completed. I was told that he has his family in Ghana and he has 2 houses in Ghana. I even have the addresses. I say Nigerian Ghanaian, but he's a Nigerian, but he also has a Ghanaian passport.
The police in Nigeria are heaving a sigh of relief after painstaking investigations led to his arrest. Ghana's police service have served notice of cooperating with their Nigerian counterparts on intelligence, leading to the successful prosecution of the suspect.
We've come to realize that crime has become transnational, and therefore we can only fight this crime through international collaboration. This is exactly what we are doing. He's mentioned certain platforms like the West African Police Chiefs Organization, and then the head of Interpol in Nigeria also did mention a platform called the Interpol Network, the I-24/7. This is a platform that we share information and intelligence, and we're going to use that medium that will enable us, unravel some of the mysteries behind the arrest of this kidnapper in Nigeria.
Komla Kluche, TV3 News, Accra.
Now, meanwhile, the Nigerian Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Potun Idris, has been speaking to the media on how the Nigerian security officials were able to uncover the syndicate of the man known only as Evans, the kidnapper, the billionaire kidnapper, as is popularly called.
Last week we arrested a kidnapper in Nigeria. And that's a kidnapper that operates along the coastline of West Africa. His family are based in Ghana here. And that's the only kidnapper that kidnapped and, he demands ransom in dollars. $1 million. I think most of the ransom, about $6 million so far, were in dollars. And he can keep a victim for as long as 6 months. It's very sad, really. Keeping somebody for 6 months until you finish paying that money. And he doesn't release his victim until that money is completed. The money he gives out is completed. I was told that he has his family in Ghana and he has 2 houses in Ghana. I even have the addresses. I say Nigerian Ghanaian, but he's a Nigerian, but he also has a Ghanaian passport. And I think that's something people have to look at.
All right, so we want to delve a bit deeper into this particular story. It came as a shock to many, and then I don't know how many of you must have seen it on social media already, the story about his arrest in Nigeria, his operations. There was a story circulating on WhatsApp, and it was quite interesting that a few days after that video started circulating, the Nigerian IGP was in Ghana for a security meeting, and then revealed that the man actually had some property in Ghana, too, as a matter of fact. And then also his wife and family are living here in Ghana while he's undertaking all the activities, dubious as they may, in Nigeria. We've been joined in studio by Mr. Nkribo Isiakon. He's a principal consultant with E-Crime Bureau. And we want to put a few questions to him in terms of security and sharing of information and how even the fraudsters and kidnappers and people who perpetrate these crimes cannot tap or infiltrate the information sharing from, not only Ghana and Nigeria, but then the West African sub-region as a whole. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good afternoon.
Some seem to be surprised that it seems to be now that the Nigerian IGP is making such a call. Shouldn't we have been sharing information with our neighboring countries years ago with regard to security?
You are right, Martin. I listened attentively to that, and the question that one will ask us, okay, how much information, what did the Nigerian authorities know about this gentleman who is now alleged kidnapper? After that question, then you ask the next one. Out of those information that the authorities in Nigeria knew about this gentleman, what is the quantum of information? Do they share any with their Ghanaian counterparts? Right? I think this questions needs to be answered. And if we have yes answers, then you can then, address issues within whether our authorities had information and they didn't act. But as he was speaking, I think he did admit and he made a recommendation on the need to share intelligence. Yeah. Look, I think this thing has taken so long. ECOWAS protocol, free movement is close to 40 years now. I remember this document was passed in 79. And you expect, at least learning from the Europeans, Europeans have got the Schengen system of information, you expect that close to 40 years of opening your borders to other neighbors, we got to have a system in place. It's a system that will be able to indicate, okay, within the month of June, how many Nigerians have moved into this country, how many Ghanaians have moved in there, what are the personalities of these people, the biodata, the information, because our IGP did mention there is an Interpol system that you can use to check some of this information. But when you don't have the framework that you can monitor entry and exit of citizens within this ECOWAS region, that is where some of those issues come in.
So that call has been made. Hopefully, in the next few days or weeks, the intelligence information sharing would commence. That is, if it's not already underway, because for such a criminal as it stands, an alleged kidnapper as it stands now, to have undertaken his exploits, even moved to Ghana, and our security service not knowing much about it, it even raises question about our internal security system. Do you think it is secure enough to be to gather biodata maybe?
See, there is no doubt about challenges internally. And once again, I still look at Europe. Even with the advanced economy, they've had some few issues where terrorists are moving from France to Belgium without being identified. It's quite tricky. US had their own issues as well. So I wouldn't like us to just focus on Ghana. But I believe that absolutely. If you look at the trends of movement of Nigerians or other people into this country, and once again, this is guaranteed by law, right? Ghana belongs to a community of countries. We have the same right of moving to live in other countries, and other citizens do have right also to come and live here. But what we need to do is to really activate that monitoring mechanism, right? And that will start right from the borders. How many are coming in? Okay. Do we know what they're doing? Yes. If they have two houses, the wife, what is the wife doing? How did they acquire these properties? How did they pay for? Was it cash? Was it this? And certainly FIC will be interested in some of these questions, right? So I mean, internally, yes, let's accept some kind of responsibility. These are the questions that Nigerians may not share with us.
But then there are
But there's a law that's allowed them to
own.
come in. What then should we do
Okay.
if Nigerians don't share that intelligence?
It's on the same tangent that my next question comes, which is that there has been the proposal for an ECOWAS passport, which is already being issued. Do you think we stand the risk of glossing over some of these things, looking at the fact that now I can just enter any of the ECOWAS countries just bearing a passport without critical checking of my background?
You see, the reality is this. As for the movement across borders, it has come to stay. Trust me, we're not going to have... And remember, I think we are expanding. Last year, I think we expanded the scope, allowing AU citizens to arrive at our borders to get their visas. We have expanded the scope beyond ECOWAS. And for me, I think it's a good... You got Nigerian businesses doing so well in this country, right? So... you know, I don't want to discuss the Brexit question here that I want business, I don't want my people to move in. I don't think that argument will fly within our country. Now, the key thing is this. We are, and certainly we're going to have, you know, ECOWAS, passports, the movement. Europeans do. Once again, it's working. The way globalization is advancing economies, you know, we have to be progressive. We need to face the realities. But reality with certain pragmatic steps, right? Because if you want business from other country, yes, the business will come with certain risks. So the question is, how is Ghana prepared? What is Ghana doing? But then, I think I need to emphasize there has been good progress. If you look at the way our birth certificate were issued, you're talking of the gentleman having a passport. Well, you could marry a Ghanaian and get a passport.
So which means he has a Ghanaian passport and a Nigerian passport.
Absolutely, so he's a Ghanaian. So you think how he can also evade certain controls because he's become a Ghanaian. But the other question is the manner in which, you know, our identity system, the fundamental challenge, okay, we have border security issues, but we also have internally national identification issues.
Problems that we need to deal with. Okay, in wrapping up, my final question would be, how can we, if even the information or the intelligence sharing commences and is going well, how can we ensure that we do not have infiltration and some of the personnel who handle this information not giving tip-offs to the criminals or persons that are suspected to be undertaking foul play?
I can give you a complete security. It doesn't exist. You're still going to have
complete security doesn't exist.
No, forget about it. You recently followed when the British shared intelligence with Americans about a suspect who was just being investigated. It was leaked to the media. That's happening in the U.S. Look, these are the realities that is going to happen. But then the people that we put in place to handle our information, as such to handle sensitive information, I think we need to keep an eye on them. We have to make sure the best, you know, are being motivated to keep an eye on us as a country. Grateful
for your time and your insights. We've been speaking with Albert Boesiako, Principal Consultant with A Crime Bureau, sharing his thoughts on the arrest of the Nigerian, says a Ghanaian Nigerian kidnapper who has undertaken businesses and also has property in Ghana. The security agencies are on it. We'll keep you posted when new developments do come up. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you.
Okay. This is still Midday Live on TV3. Let's shift our attention to the seat of government now because the Information Minister, Mustafa Hamid, has revealed that no minister in the Akufo-Addo-led government has been paid since the assumption of office. He was speaking on TV3's Hot Issues with Winston Amor.
We're told ministers haven't been paid so far. Is that true?
Yes, that's true.
Why?
I don't know. I guess that the processes for getting these things done takes time. You know, the whole process is about controller and accountant generals and all those things and so on. I mean, it's become a phenomenon. It's not a very good phenomenon in our country that people get employed and after 1 year they are not taking salaries yet and so on. It happens with teachers, nurses, etc., etc. So if it's happening with politicians, maybe we should say, well, it's good that it's happening to them so that when they also feel the pinch, they will work hard to correct the anomaly for all all of us citizens.
So how are you surviving then? You're working, and there's a lot of pressure on you. How are you surviving? Have you been surviving over the past 4 or 5 months?
Well, it's been difficult, just like all other people manage to survive by the grace of friends and associates and so on. We are managing to get by.
Except that for politicians, sometimes Ghanaians fear that that could lead you into being compromised by somebody.
Well, of course, I wouldn't say that that fear is entirely unfounded. So I hope that the authorities are working hard, people who are responsible for ensuring that these things happen, get them to happen as quickly as possible.
All right, so that was Hot Issues that was aired last Saturday on TV3. And a lot of questions have been raised with regard to how then are they surviving if they are not being paid for what, 6 months and counting. We've been joined via Skype by Edem Senanu, who is the co-chair for Citizens Movement Against Corruption. And I would want to put a few questions to him. Senanu, good afternoon and thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon to you and to your viewers as well.
Right, to start with, should we applaud the government ministers for what they are doing, having worked 6 months without salary, or we should be worried that they might then find other ways and means to survive? Hello, Senator, can you hear me?
Well, I wouldn't use the word applaud. I think that, yes, I can hear you. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear
Hello?
you. Yes, I can hear you.
Hello? Okay.
Unfortunately, the Skype sound and video seem to be unstable. But Senanu, can you hear me now?
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you too.
Great. So the question was, should we applaud the government ministers for having worked all these months without salary, or we should be worried that such persons in public office could use ways and means to get some, resources, at least to survive?
I think that we ought to be worried. We should be worried for two reasons. One is just the fact that they have just come out of a political contest where they obviously would have used a lot of resources to get through it. And so it is unfair to them not to be paid after so many months of working. The second reason why we ought to be worried is that if appointees of the president and the government are not being able to be placed on the payroll, or they can't find funding for them to pay them, then we ought to be worried about what will be happening to other people at other levels of government. So this is not an area where we ought to be applauding. Actually, it's an area where we ought to be looking at investigating what the systemic challenge is. And it's an opportunity for this new government to take the bull by the horns and find out why is it that we have such circumstances where sometimes up to 2-3 years, people who have been working for government are not paid.
Yeah, but it's on the same tangent that, Mustafa Hamid in the interview indicated that there clearly are anomalies in the pay structures in the government sector. And so, at least, whilst these ministers of state feel the pinch, it would urge them on to work harder, so then government, through that, can fix the system so everybody can have the relief that we all seek for. So, where really is the fear that other people are raising, including yourself, saying that we should be worried?
I mean, we appoint people into positions of leadership, specifically because we want them to solve challenges and issues and give us solutions that are sustainable. Whilst it may be useful to say that, yes, there are issues that ought to be addressed within the public payment system, I think it is more important to us as government, as Ghanaians, that we set standards that can be found globally. And the standards for people who are engaged as employees is that they get paid at the end of the month. And so I think that the discourse ought to change and focus much more on what is it that causes these bottlenecks and is preventing us from doing what is the international labor standard in terms of paying employees. Otherwise, you leave them susceptible to influence by whichever way these influences may come. And that is something we...
Okay, thank you so much.
It's crucial that we address it, yeah.
Right, thank you so much, Adam Senanu, for your thoughts on this story. Adam Senanu is a co-chair for Citizen Movement Against Corruption. This is still Midday Live on TV3. Let's shift our attention to what's happening in that town that has become quite known in the entire country, Dentra-Boase. But before we go to Dentra-Boase, we are crossing over to Parliament, where I'm told my colleague, it's not ready yet, will bring you development and updates from the House of Parliament. But before that, though, an investigation carried out by a non-government organization called Volunteers Against Environmental Degradation has revealed that galamsey activities still are ongoing in the Upper Dentra West District. Illegal mining is still prevalent in the Ofing, Akwaboso and Subing rivers in the district. Information we've also gathered indicate that the NGO alleged that Chinese illegal miners are engaged in these galamsey activities in the area. Large portions of land in the Akwaboso village has been turned into a mining site, posing serious threats to the community. And the Amanase and Dwaboso forest has also been turned into a mining site for many illegal miners in the area. The organization is therefore calling on the Minister for Land and Natural Resources, John Peter Amewu, to visit the area and put a stop to galamsey activities there. And these areas are in the central region, which are, we're told, they are still quite close to especially the Dentra-Boase area where Major Maxwell Mahama was murdered. You would recall that some leadership of the township came to deny that there was galamsey activity in that part of the country, but visuals you've just seen indicate that activities are still ongoing. TV3 will keep you posted on new developments. This is still Midday Live. Business is up next with Pakwisi Asare. Stay with us.
We all know how important good nutrition is to grow up big and strong. Not only is cowbell milk enriched with 28 vitamins and minerals, it's also boosted by the 5 most important vitamins, which we call Vita-Rich.
It's got vitamin A for good eyesight development. It's got vitamin C to help fight infections. It's got vitamin D and calcium to help build strong bones and teeth. It's got vitamin E to help with body protection. And it's got vitamin K for general well-being and immunity.
For good health and vitality, only cowbell with Vita-Rich puts you on the fast track.
Business, the heartbeat of every economy. The booze and the chairs of the stock market shows who's making profit and who's crumbling under the harsh business environment. On Business Focus, we crowd out the noise for you to make informed decisions on your investments. I'm Pakwisi Asare and I talk business.
Business Focus shows this and every Monday at 6 p.m. and is brought to you by Vodafone, power to you, and supported by 3FM 92.7 in Accra and 3news.com.
There are lots of amazing stories out there. What we do on News 360 is to bring to you the most compelling news by teasing out the right pieces that bring the stories to life. My job is to present to you the news in the most gripping manner and asking the critical questions that bring out the needed detail out of the stories. My name is Alfredo Kanse. Join me on News 360 Monday through to Friday 7 p.m. on air and online only on TV3.
The business segment is brought to you by
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the business news here on Midday Live. My name is Pakwisi Asari. We'll return with the very latest in the world of business. All right, so let's begin with our very first story. And there was drama at the airport branch of Vodafone as the private security of the company denied the Ghana Revenue Authority's Special Revenue Mobilization Task Force entry to the company. The visit of the task force was to recover a tax debt of 30 million cedis owed by the National Communications Backbone Limited, an affiliate of Vodafone.
The Special Revenue Mobilization Task Force of the Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, visited the National Communications Backbone Limited, which is in the same building of the airport branch of Vodafone. The security man at post said he had no orders from his employers to allow them in, leading to exchanges between him and the police. The company is part of 14 companies in the Ashanti and Greater Accra regions that owe the GRA tax debt to the tune of almost 64 million cedis. Some officials of the company requested for a 5-minute meeting with the task force in camera, asking the media to wait in a room. The 5-minute meeting lasted for 30 minutes, after which the coordinator of the task force, Henry Branford Sam, briefed the media.
We are now at the premises of Vodafone, but the action is not directed at Vodafone. We have National Communication Backbone Company, which is an affiliate of Vodafone. There are conditions under which a company can claim capital allowance in the financial statement, part of which indicates that the company should be able to own the assets, should produce evidence of ownership of the assets that were used to generate the income and for which same has been claimed in the financial statement. These evidences were not available as at the time of submitting our reports.
This was the 4th place the team visited, and the places visited earlier were closed down. At the Eagle Star Enterprise at Sakaman, the task force locked up the place for owing over 604,000 cedis.
The company has 14 days within which it has to make the full payment. Otherwise, we have to come and auction the property.
From there, the team visited the ACI Construction, a subsidiary of RLG, which owed a tax debt of 14.3 million cedis. The facility was virtually empty. The cleaner the team met there tried to speak to one of his superiors on phone, but the task force directed the management to visit their office.
When he avails himself at our office, we will take up the issue with him. But for now, everybody must vacate the premises.
The logistics support services at Abilimpe owed 467,779,064 pesos for the past 2 years. The task force added the attached seal and padlock to the already locked facility. It was therefore not clear if the situation at the National Communications Backbone Limited was different.
What happened here is an issue of review, which they are saying that their tax consultants have the documents. And normally, we want to give the taxpayers the benefit of the doubt.
In our news, a Deputy Minister for Communications responsible for cyber security, Vincent Sowa Odotai, says the inadequate availability of cyber security skills in the country is affecting the protection of key cyber data. He was speaking at the Audit, Information and Security Risk Insights 2017 conference at Takoradi in the Western region.
The conference focused on the growing concern by business leaders and enterprises on information risk, cybersecurity, and IT governance, as well as IT regulatory and legislative compliance. The president of ISACA Accra chapter, Kyle A. Saki, said the conference intends to ensure that companies work hand in hand with the government to mitigate the threat of cybersecurity risk in information technology. He explained the perceptions of the populace about cybercrime and urged people to update their systems regularly.
IT security goes beyond cybercrime. It is a business issue. It is a national issue. So you want to look at it from many perspectives, like leakage of information. Sometimes you hear the press who say that we intercepted a document. How did you intercept a document? Who gave it out to you? Is it something that should be out in the public domain in the first place? These are things that sometimes people do not actually know the reason why it has to go out. It could be damaging to a company, it could be damaging to a government, it could be damaging to a people. And so we try to educate people as to the importance of making sure that there are the proper controls so that these things don't go out.
The Deputy Communications Minister responsible for cybersecurity, Vincent Sowa Odote, stressed that ICT is accelerating social and economic growth. He said use of the technology is irreversible and that the economic impact of cybercrime cannot be ignored, particularly in the financial sector.
People must make sure that the operating systems are satisfied at the correct thing. They make sure they have the relevant firewalls. They make sure they have the basic security on their systems. They make sure that their way of sharing information is secured. They should be alert to certain unsolicited emails, any unsolicited texts and things. That's the basic thing that people must do.
He mentioned government's efforts at fighting cybercrime, such as creating of courts to handle such cases.
Once we come out to implement the National Cyber Security Policy, that will go to add-on to provide what I'll call a governmental support for cyber experiences.
The conference discussed topics such as IT risk in the context of operational risk, the good, the bad and the ugly.
Well, that's all for business. My name is Asiedu-Dartey. Thanks for watching. Over to you now, Martin.
Thank you.
More news.
Thank you very much, Asiedu-Dartey. With the latest in the world of business, let's swing straight to Parliament. We are hearing that there seemed to be a debate from the minority side raising concerns about the sale of fertilizer. And we've been joined on the line by my colleague, Evelyn Tingma, to give us an update, because the information is that the minority in Parliament has asked government to be sensitive to the plight of Ghanaian cocoa farmers by halting the sale of fertilizer, which they said was free under the NDC government. The minority was addressing the media in Accra, and Evelyn Tingma has joined us via phone. Evelyn, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, Martin.
What else can you tell us about this concern raised by the minority?
Yeah, Martin, first of all, the minority talked about the fact that the Chief Executive Officer of Cocoa Board is not close with the mandate to determine the producer price of cocoa for farmers. Rather, it is the duty of the Producer Price Review Committee, which takes into consideration factors such as the economic conditions prevailing in the country in order not to inflict untold hardships on farmers. This, the group said, urged the CEO of the Cocoa Board to allow the committee established in 1984 to continue its work. The group also talked about the fact that the NDC government under President Mahama established the Cocoa Stabilization Fund, which was to sustain the earnings of cocoa farmers and cushion them should the market price decline, adding that the recent decline in the price of cocoa internationally should put some smiles on the faces of farmers. And but this, they said, the NDP government went ahead to do something else, and they urged the CEO of the Cocoa Board to make public the funds of the accumulated funds of the cocoa price index. And so the spokesperson on NASREC, who is Honorable Eric Opoku, who addressed the media, said that the NDC government under the leadership of President Mahama also introduced the cocoa fertilization program, which included free fertilizer to farmers. But this, he said, the NPP, upon resumption of office, has replaced the free fertilization program with a program under which farmers pay 80 Ghana cedis for a bag of fertilizer, saying that the minority cannot sit aloof for government to cheat the farmers. and has therefore urged government to be sensitive to the plight of the cocoa farmers and by halting the sale of fertilizer to farmers. Martin.
Okay. Oh, wow. Thank you for that comprehensive report. Evelyn Tingma is TV3's parliamentary correspondent with that update from the minorities press conference in Parliament about the sale of cocoa fertilizers to cocoa farmers. Details of that will be in our subsequent bulletins. For now, though, we take a quick breather. We'll be back with the latest in the world of sports. Stay with us.
I just got an HD combo decoder from StarTimes.
Cool! StarTimes HD combo decoder.
StarTimes is giving away free decoders to all new subscribers. Simply prepay 2-month Super Bouquet subscription and get an HD combo decoder for free. Get yours now at all StarTimes dealer shops and enjoy the best entertainment from over 100 international and local channels. StarTimes, change your...
Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3newsgh for live streaming and comments on our page. Like and follow us on Twitter at 3newsgh and at 3sportsgh. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3 Network. If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment. To every story, there's a deeper meaning, a host of angles, which, when reported with the highest ethics of journalism, bring out the perspectives that matters most to you. That's what News 360 is all about. I seek to climb higher, dig deeper, and go further to bring you 360 degrees of the news and what happens thereafter. I'm Natalie Fort. Join me on News 360 every weekday at 7 p.m.
Good afternoon, sports news time here on Midday Live. My name is Anako Jaffe. Let's get into the details. Ghana captain Asamoah Gyan says the upcoming international friendly games are important for the Black Stars because they would help keep the momentum and aid their World Cup rankings. The Stars are back in training. We're back in training after the Nations Cup qualifying win and will travel to Texas on Friday for the first of 2 international friendly games against Mexico next Wednesday and then later against the USA on Saturday. Gyan reckons that while the games have been tagged as mere friendlies, they are vital for the team going forward.
It's very, very important because it's good for our FIFA ranking. So we just go in there to treat it like a serious game. Although it's a friendly, but it's a game that will build our reputation also. So we just go in there to play our normal game, make sure we win. And football, anything can happen, but we focus on the friendly because it's very, very important for us.
Jerry Akamenko has been on the brink of career death and back, literally. The centre-back feared his career was over when an injury ended his 2014 World Cup hopes, but he is back playing again with renewed ambitions.
Injuries are any player's worst nightmare, and 3 years ago, Jerry Akamenko faced up to his as he stood on the cusp of his greatest career moment. The centre-back had worked his name into the final squad for Ghana's World Cup campaign, but an injury in the final warm-up game against Holland scuppered that. As he lay on the Rotterdam pitch, the tears flowed. What followed was even tougher as Akamenko endured 2 years out before working his way back through trials. Now back in the national side, he says that injury was the lowest point of his career.
It was very difficult to have that kind of injury at that moment, and then if I could look back how I was playing that season before that injury, it was really a very difficult moment. I understand life. I needed somebody who could just be there for me and say, hey, this is what I'm doing for you. But, well, I looked into it and then I expected whatever I expected them and they couldn't do it. So I just left them. Friends, some was there, some wasn't there. And then most of them that was there, I don't think they will be calling every day, will be texting every day about the same thing.
Akamenku may have lost what could potentially have been his best 3 years as a professional. But now back on the pitch, he still has lofty ambitions.
It's always been a dream to play in the highest team, like, you know, a team that wins the league and then playing the Champions League. Well, I've been in all these kind of average teams and I know how it feels like. So I want to also enjoy playing in this kind of level, like, you know what I mean. So this is what I'm looking up to. Apart from the club side, I want to be in Ghana team that win the African Cup of Nations. God bless you. You're welcome, bro.
Now time to bring you the latest update from the transfer market.
The Daily Star reports Tottenham won £45 million for England defender Kyle Walker, 27, who is a target for Manchester City. According to The Independent, Arsenal have told Barcelona that defender Hector Bellerin, 22, is not for sale and are confident the Spaniard will stay this summer. The Daily Telegraph reports the North London club have opened talks with midfielder Aaron Ramsey, 26, over a contract extension to avoid further uncertainty over his future. Juventus have lined up Manchester United defender Matteo Darmian, 27, as their preferred replacement for defender Dani Alves, who looks set to leave the Serie A champions, Go.com reports. The Daily Mail states Alves, 34, is ready to agree to a 2-year deal with Manchester City once he resolves his departure from Juventus. The Daily Record states Manchester United would be Cristiano Ronaldo's only choice if he opted for a Premier League return, according to the 32-year-old's advisors. But TalkSport reports Real Madrid president Florentino Perez has described the speculation over Cristiano Ronaldo's future as very strange and says there are no plans to sell the forward. According to the Gazzetta dello Sport via Manchester Evening News, Zlatan Ibrahimovic's agent Mino Raiola says the 35-year-old striker, who is out of contract at Manchester United at the end of June, has had many offers from the US and beyond. And now to the Evening Standard, Chelsea are planning to loan out 22-year-old centre-back Kurt Zouma this summer as they look to sign Juventus defender Leonardo Bonucci, 30, and Southampton's Virgil van Dijk, 25. EFCN FC reports Real Madrid defender Pepe, 34, has made a decision on his future despite being linked with a summer move to Paris Saint-Germain. Arsenal manager Arsene Wenger says that striker Olivier Giroud, 30, remains a key player in his squad, the Evening Standard reports. Inter Milan have launched a sensational bid for Las Palmas midfielder Kevin Prince Boateng. The Fox Sports reports Eduardo Senja, the agent of the Ghanaian, has arrived in Milan to meet directors of Inter, which has heightened reports of a potential bid for the services of the 30-year-old. Boateng signed a 3-year contract extension at the club early this month after impressing in his debut season.
Well, let's move on and bring you our final story before we wrap up here, and we take you to the FIFA Confederations Cup, and the second group games in the group will begin later today. And as you can see on your screens, Russia, the host, will take on Euro 2016 winners Portugal. Mexico will be up against New Zealand. On Thursday, Cameroon will be up against Australia, and then Germany, the World Cup champions, up against Chile, the Copa America champions. And that's all the sports here on Midday Live. My name is Anako Jaffer. Martin, over to you.
Thank you very much, Anako Jaffer, with the latest in the world of sports. Time now for entertainment news.
Entertainment news is brought to you by
Okay, so comedian DKB and former First Lady Nana Konadu Rawlings have patched up their differences 2 months after the former First Lady described DKB as boring and not funny. DKB, who spent some moments with the former First Lady, said the latter advised him to tone down on sharing vulgar jokes. He spoke to Nana Somwa Edu-Jima.
DKB was a headline performer at the Easter comedy show last April. Halfway into his performance, Nana Konadu Rawlings, who found his jokes rather offensive and unexciting, walked out of the venue. Nana Konadu's comment exposed the comedian to public ridicule.
What it comes with, the public ridicule, the rejection, the betrayal, exposing me for insult and all of that, is the very painful bit. Some few people are making it look like I've not been good before.
The comedian on Monday shared a video of himself and the former First Lady in a hearty chat.
I approached her and then we spoke. I was like, "Hey mom, what's up?" And she was like, "Yeah." Then she started laughing. I started laughing and then I was like, "I know what happened last time, blah, blah, blah." She was like, "Oh, okay, that's good to know." And then, so I told her, once again, sorry and thank you so much for the opportunity. So she even offered a hand first to shake. If you watch the video, I was like, oh, this is nice.
DKB said the unexpected meeting was a fine opportunity to iron out few issues. The comedian noted the former First Lady advised him to always research about his audience before he hits the stage.
She said that, that night was just too much of unadulterated content, the vulgarity, and it was just too much. So rather we should focus on toning down a bit to fit an all-round audience, because you might not know who is in the audience, which is true, because in your mind, it's an adult show, but some people might come with their kids. She advised me about being vulgar. I explained to her that I got complacent and I learned my lesson that night. Now I've really learned to be humble in all circumstances.
DKB said his best is yet to come, urging fans to keep supporting him.
My one-man show will come back this year, and then Comedy Express, the monthly comedy show, will come back in less than 2 or 3 months' time. So I'll do them proud, We'll blow the comedy and everybody will see our works.
Well, certainly that's DKB, one of Ghana's finest comedians, and taking good advice there. So watch out for him. We will certainly be laughing a lot. All right, and to some news just coming in, and some vehicles, including a presidential armored BMW saloon believed to be for state, have been discovered at Nsawam in the eastern region. The custodian of the vehicles claimed they were seized property by the court.
One Toyota Land Cruiser, 2 Ford Expedition, a Jeep, Pajero, 2 Nissan pickup, and an armored BMW saloon. An angry custodian, Mr. Ba, who showed court documents, denied accusations the vehicles were stolen.
So the cars over here is not my own cars, which I bought it in with my pocket money. We are preserving for the court. So the cars over here, when you put it on the screen, one, you embarrass the owners of the vehicles.
But the task force argued a presidential armored car could not have been confiscated by the court.
And what he's saying is the car is a seized car from court, and he did not mention the court name. We wanted to know. He said no, he will not mention the court name. We cannot judge it here. Our own is just pick the information and send the signal to Ghana government.
All right, so a very interesting development there. We'll keep an eye on it for you in our subsequent bulletins. That's it for Midday News. My name is Martin Asiedu-Dartey. Thank you very much for watching. There is more news on our website, 3news.com. You have a good afternoon, and as always, stay positive. Bye for now.